So welcome back to part 2 of the guest bedroom here. We're going to start laying the floor now. So what I've done is I've cut this board along the side already for the length. What I originally wanted to do was hook it on to where we last left off, but I couldn't get it underneath here enough. So I'm just going to use this trim piece that was already there. And that's going to cover that gap there. So what we've learned when we laid this downstairs and then downstairs of our house is that the first piece is the most important piece, if you get that piece right. So what I've done is laid these boards out just to see how they would come out to the wall over here. And I noticed that there's a gap there, a pretty decent gap. If you take the trim piece, there, it barely covers that gap, so I want to close that gap up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is cut this board here, trim a little off here, and that'll close that gap there. So I got about 3/4 of an inch gap there. Probably want to close that down to 1/4 of an inch gap. So I'm going to take off 1/2 inch there. So I marked off 1/2 inch dots all the way down through here. Then I'm going to take that piece of molding that I have for my straight edge. I'll draw a line, and then that'll be my cut line. So this is the tool we're using to cut it. We found that this is the easiest way to do it. Doesn't melt the board, makes a nice clean cut. So I'll get some sawhorses in here later, but just want to get this first board done and show you how we do it. So we're tearing this carpet up, so that's why I'm not worried about the carpet. Like I said, I'll get some sawhorses in here later. But ripping the board takes a long time. You don't have to rip a lot of them. Just when I get over to the far wall, I might have to rip a board down. But for the most part, you're just trimming the edges, which takes no time at all. We found that they recommend you use a utility knife. We found that this is so much easier to use this saw. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this cut, and then we'll see how it turns out. So how this flooring works is it locks in here to your next piece, and it also locks in here as you continue out through the room. So you're locking in 2 different directions. So by trimming that edge off, we've moved in this much. So we'll go ahead and push that in. Oops, I gotta take a piece of molding out of the way first. That should push in. Let me set the camera down and I'll show you. Get it all lined up. So as you can see, that gap is significantly closed up. And this is all lined up here. Go ahead and put our piece of molding on there, see if it covers it, which it does a lot easier now. So that's perfect. Now once you got that first board lined up, the rest should be easy going all the way across. I just had this size board here, just for a guide. I'm gonna have to open up a new box. I didn't have any of those kinds left, so I'll have to open up a new box and get more of those. That's just a spare piece that we had from the downstairs. I'll get a regular piece to go, longer piece to go there. to start that run. But the rest should be easy. There's 3 different sizes you can choose to start your run with. There's the wide one, there's this real skinny one, and then there's that one that I just showed you, the medium-sized one. They didn't have any of those left, so I'll open up a new box because that fits perfect over there. So this product is called Life Proof Flooring. This is what the box looks like. Go ahead and open one up here. These are guaranteed for life, so if anything happens to one of them, they'll replace it. Might have to slide them out. That's what we did last time. Problem is, these things aren't hot enough. There we go. There, let's take the camera out. So we're looking for the medium size pieces, some long ones, or some wide ones, I mean. Narrow ones, a couple more wide ones, and then here's our medium-sized ones. So those will be the ones we'll put in next. So there's like a male and a female end, sort of. So I want to make sure, I'm going to call this female end, I guess. I want to make sure that this is always facing towards me, because that's the way the first board started. So the next piece is too long, so I'll have to cut the end off of that one. And that's what you want to measure, that distance right there. From this board to the end of that one. Making sure you cut that end. But this is the measurement that you want, from here to here. So I got that board cut to the right length. So now we don't want this seam to stay the same all the way across the floor. So what I'll do is I'll use a shorter piece up here. This board was just here to see, kind of measure things out where I wanted it to be. This board actually won't go here. And then we'll grab one of our cut pieces from before. Knowing that we want to use a wide one, that'll go like that, and that'll allow the next board, the full piece, to go there, and then your seams won't be the same everywhere. So I made a change of plans. I notched that board out so it would come down further. Then I had to cut this one again on the side. I did all that so our seams wouldn't be the same here. So it's just a little bit of a change of plans. I wasn't thinking ahead enough, but we should be good now to where our seams won't be the same all the way down through now. So I'm kind of being the cutter and she's kind of laying it in because of my knee. Here's how you tap it in. Then when you lay the next board, you hook it right on that seam, and then you go to the end of the board and you pound it in to match the horizontal. So you get the board laid on that, and then you hit it from the end until this goes in. Keep going, it's going. Okay, you got it. So we're about 3/4 of the way done. We're able to use, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we're able to use some of the old scrap pieces there from the downstairs living room that we did about, geez, it must have been about 7 years ago or so. No, we did that a while ago. So we're into our, what, fourth box? Fourth box. So we did have to rip that last board, the width of it. We're actually doing it out on the table saw. My father-in-law's here helping. As you can probably hear it cutting right now. So we got to cut 2 more of those and then cut the end off the length on one of them, and then we'll be all done. Kind of doing the final touches now. We're going out to the garage to get the trim and the door that we already painted. So that's what we'll be doing. Carrying the trim back up. So as soon as we thought we were done painting, put the trim on, and we realized the paint wasn't low enough, so there's a couple spots we gotta do touch up. But here's what it looks like with the trim on. Looks pretty good. So we got the door trim in, trim pieces. And then the trim piece on the bottom. All the touch-up paint we had to do is done. Just got to take off the tape. Now we're gonna go get the door. We got some new hinges for it and a new door knob. So that's our next step. We're gonna go down and get the door. It's out in the garage. So now we got some curtains hung up. And maybe I'm just blind, but we got a new blind hung up in there. A little dad joke. So now we're gonna redo this furniture here. We're just redoing the top. I sanded those down a little bit so the paint will stick on both of these. And then one of the drawers we gotta fix, so we're gonna use some Gorilla Glue. We'll put the piece on there. Just like that. And then we'll squeeze here and we'll get some Gorilla Glue here. Yeah, that should hold. Well, that Gorilla Glue didn't hold, so we're using the real stuff here. And then we also took the hardware off. We're gonna spray paint that. So here's how the door turned out. Looks really good painted. Got the new door knob on. The door closes now. At first it wouldn't close. And it doesn't lock. So we gotta adjust the this part a little bit. At some point we'll do that to get it so it'll lock. But the main thing I wanted to show you was how the dressers turned out. Turned out really good, I think, with the new hardware. We painted those silver, and then it's white on top. This one's still drying, so we gotta take the tape off. But I think they look really good. Well, the room is finally done. We might put up a few pictures and add a few knickknacks here and there, but for the most part, it's all done. So we'll go ahead and turn you around and show you the final reveal. So I'll get up and show you around here in a minute. But first, I'd like to say the hardest part that we struggled with was probably the ceiling. Getting the texture just right on that. We got it as best we could. Getting the run started. The very first run, I think I pointed that out earlier. You got to really plan it out, but once you get it going, it goes pretty easy. Let's see, another part that we struggled with was the top of the dressers. We had a little trouble with the paint on those. We still got to put a sealer on it. Let's see, what else? Oh, the trim around the top. Of course, trim is always tricky. Right where the ceiling meets the walls. It took a long time to do that. The easy parts were probably once you got the floor going, was actually putting the floor in. And then surprisingly enough, the light. And I'm usually terrible with electricity, but that was pretty easy, putting the light in. So we got the new door handle, doorknob. And we got new hinges on the door. Of course, the new flooring. And then we got a new chair. And it came with the footstool. We're just putting the footstool over here, and then when somebody wants it, if they want to use it, they can bring it over there. Just because it doesn't give you enough room to walk through there. A new blind in this window. That blind in that window was okay. And then we got a new nightstand that I just finished putting together. So I think the last new thing that we got was this mirror. And then we got new light covers and outlet covers. I can't think of anything else new. Then some of the stuff we reused was the paint we already had. This comforter we already had. The dressers we redid. Painted the hardware and redid the tops. This rug we already had. Oh, we did buy new pillowcases in sheet to match the bedspread that we already had. So I think I about covered it all. We'll get one last look here. Try to get a wide angle of it. So that's about it for this room. Hope you enjoyed this makeover. And this here will be the next room. See you later.